Hello there, welcome to Director's Cut, the one and only television talk show that features filmmakers from all walks of life. They can be directors, scriptwriters, producer, or audio person, or even camera persons. And for these shows, we are going to talk to a producer who has been developing a lot of projects from short film to feature-length projects. But just before that, I would like to talk about producer. Producer is itself a very simple and it can be also very complex terminology because there are so many derivatives that derive from the words itself. It can be line producer, creative producer, executive producers, or even associate producers. Who are these people? To find out more about this, let's talk to the guest. Today we are going to speak to one of the producers in Malaysia, Yve Vonn, who has been producing for many short film and telemovie as well as a co-production between French and Chinese in China. So we are going to speak to her about producing. We are happy today to have our guest Yve Vonn to join us as one of the producers for Malaysia. She has been producing for quite a number of short films, telemovies, and currently producing feature-length film. Okay, let's start with yourself and how did Yve Vonn landed on this producing career?
Yeah, thank you for having me, Changli. Well, I started producing for TV at first, actually, for quite many years in my career, and then I officially joined developing movies in 2010. When I'm not sure if it's exactly the same year, but it's more or less that year or the year before, where there was this Chinese movie during Chinese New Year made by Chicken Guan, and it scored in the box office so well that there was this rave about kind of like Malaysian Chinese movie. So it was that time that my friend asked to say that we want to set up a movie department in our company. Would you like to join us to be a producer? So of course I never produced a movie before and I know nothing about it, but he knew that I was very into short films, and so we talk about it, and we think that we can make something. You see, yeah. But eventually we didn't. Actually, we didn't. But we made two telemovies for the TV station. Yeah.
So that's how you started your journey into filmmaking. So it was from producing telemovies, and then you went on to China to become a line producer for a French-Chinese co-production. And from there on, you also produced quite a number of short films, particularly for some well-known filmmakers like Chui Mui, and also currently developing quite a number of feature-length film, even narrative and documentary as well. And those roles are very kind of different from one another. They are line producers, you're also working on creative producers and associate producers. So it can be said that those terms can be very confusing if you were to look into one and to another. Could you please also help to elucidate on these terms and how can we actually differentiate them from one another?
I took some time to learn about it as well. You may not know the very first time that I tried to differentiate it is actually by reading end credits from the movies that we watch. So I try to see like how come when I was in TV there's a producer, there's an executive producer, and that's it. And why when you dive into other areas you realize that there could be 3 producers and 2 associate producers, that kind of thing. So, of course, I realize, if you're following Hollywood system or whatever system you're talking about, there are differences to it. But I would say, in a simpler way, to differentiate these roles, usually the executive producer would be the one who deals a lot with financing or what we call something to do with above the line, especially casting. Probably this person is so well connected, so experienced in the industry that for this movie, okay, I can bring you the first class actress or actor, It's by his or her connection. It's not even about the fee, but it's the connection that people trust him that okay, this would be the right movie for my actor or for myself, and eventually get on board. Because if you talk about commercial movies, a lot of times it's this casting that also kind of like determines the budget of the whole production. So that is one. And when we talk about producer, usually is the main person, is the delegate person for the film project. You will see this person, he or she should be running from top until the end of the whole project. It varies depending if you work independently or if you are hired or work for a studio. Um, that will kind of like determine if you will work for post production onwards or not.
I see.
Right. So line producer, usually you see this person. Um, if it's not a super big production, you usually will see this person on set. During the shoot. He or she would be really the highest, almost the highest ranking person to be on set, maybe back end, but on set to make sure that everything goes on well. You might not see the producer all the time, but the line producer who is executing all the plans that we have talked about for months, to know what's budget for what, and under her there's like a whole production team that she leads. So it's easier to differentiate it this way. But if let's say you say, okay, why are you credited as an associate producer? Sometimes it's really because probably during the producing of the film, this person helps a lot in terms of probably legal, probably some kind of very difficult administration, or even if it's a cross country thing, this person has some access to that country, or even a little bit of financing hiccups. This person is able to kind of like settle it for you. This kind of work that this person uh, does could or could not, might or might not get him or herself this title. It really depends on how the production look at it, how the core team appreciate, or because some people, they are totally out of the industry and they think that, oh, just because I do you a favor doesn't mean that you have to give me a credit. But some people would think that, oh, this person is not experienced, but he's on the way to becoming a producer. Maybe it's good to give this person an associate producer title, to kind of like acknowledge him or her at the earlier, of his her career. Yeah. So it really depends. It really depends on the situation, or what kind of project we're talking about. Yeah. So, and of course, nowadays we always hear about creative producer as well. To me, creative producer is also the main producer, the delegate producer, because if you're not in advertising, usually creative producer refers to a film producer who developed the project together with the director from the very beginning, and he or she will not leave the project even until it is sold, meaning it has his either the film has its festival run or not, or being sold to territories, or have theatrical release or not, or whatever kind of distribution. And because these engagements might take years, right? For example, if you sell it to a TV station, probably the contract you sign is like a 10 years, something like that. So this person will not leave the project. I could say maybe forever. Yeah. So that's how he or she is creatively involved. Not just because it's about the writing or the influence in terms of the story, but it's all around it. It's just someone who also make the film, but by not wearing the director's cap. But it's a equally important collaboration throughout the whole journey. Yeah.
Yeah, wow, there's a lot to cover, but I believe what you have said, basically it covers some things like they are the persons with finance backup, it initiates, manage or sometimes delegates the production, or even until the stage that they have to sell the film. So in other words, they are the one who bring the project to fruition. So thanks, Yve Vonn, for sharing all this information. I hope from now on our audience will be able to differentiate the difference between those producers' titles. For audience out there, stay tuned on TVS. We inspire your world. Producing a feature-length film is not an easy task. Normally, you start with developing, writing script, and probably you will have to go to a script lab to develop your script. So to talk about this, let's find out from Yve Vonn on how she did that with her directors. Hi Yve Vonn, let's talk about this. I believe Yve Vonn has involved in several projects as creative producer, where you are developing project with the directors until it is kind of done or being produced and later on being screened on a bigger screen. So could Yve Vonn share with us what actually touched your gut, or what are those criteria that you want to pick up certain project to be developed with you together with the directors? So can you share with us on that?
One of the ways that I start to launch this relationship with the director would actually be from short film. So when it comes to short film, when I was younger, I try not to select. If you come to me, I will work with you. I try not to. Because I think that time I still have the kind of capacity to just run it for you, like to just be a line producer, even if you are giving me a producing title, or to just kind of like wanting to see more short films coming out, very 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 direct. But nowadays, because making short film is not as, I mean, I know a lot of people would tell you that, oh, I make this short film with 200 ringgit or 1,000 ringgit. Yeah, it's true that probably the spending is exactly like that. But you haven't taken into account, for example, I asked Chong Li to read my script 10 times. I never even buy him a coffee because now he's not in KL. Or for example, I needed this really good set of lens, but I asked it from my friend who owns it, and because he or she has to borrow me these lenses, he or she cannot take up a job that clashes with my shooting schedule. Of course, you don't factor in all this money, right? But as a producer, I factor in this cost. Not that I pay them back at the end, because you will never be able to pay back, but I will not discount this out of how, because I really want people to see that the short film needs value and funding to be made. It doesn't, it's not a gift that fall from the sky. So why do I bring it to this far? It's because, so now when you make a short film, you treat it like a real production, then you can see, okay, can we work together? Do we have the same vision of producing, in making a film? Do we think the same way? I'm not saying that I need a yes man or a yes woman to be with me, but what I'm saying is that, okay, if we know how to handle this relationship, then okay, maybe we can try to move on for a feature length, or for a bigger project, so to speak. Because if we have never physically really, be very intense in a project before, and it's all about, very romantic, just talking about your vision, admiring all the cinema that, we have the same taste, and we drink coffee over coffee, or, wine over wine, and talk so happily about the vision that we have. Well, it might work at the beginning, but I don't know if it will last. So I think, short film is a good way, because if you cannot engage yourself with another project that you want to work with before this feature film, or take a very long time to read the treatment that the filmmaker wrote or writes. And I mean, sometimes they write a few, sometimes they write one, sometimes they don't only look for me. Probably they are looking at
mm,
free producers that they want to collaborate with. I am one of them.
mm,
So over time they
mm,
realize that okay,
mm,
for this person I have this feeling, for Yvonne I have this feeling, for this one I have this feeling. Okay, how
mm,
should I? It's very it should be very organic, and it's
mm,
fair. I mean, I
mm.
won't be feeling very hard if you say that you're actually looking for two producers now and
I see.
you don't know who to decide yet, because as long
Mm,
as you don't uh, promise or sign something
mm,
in a non-ethical way, I think
mm,
yeah, at the beginning it's right for everybody to choose to see who
mm.
is the good collaborator or the right
Yeah.
collaborator rather than
Mm,
good, because sometimes I might be good for someone but might not be good for another person, right?
true.
And it's very, very important that we share the same vision. It's
Mm,
so difficult to know that I can see the film that you want to make,
mm,
right? But
yeah.
if I see it wrong,
Mm,
then, fundamentally there's no trust and
mm,
it's difficult to move on.
Yeah, it's like the director intentions that you have tuned together.
Yeah, you need to invest a lot of time on this.
mm,
Unless you knew this person
mm,
already, then okay, maybe you can jump into a decision very quickly,
mm,
because you already know this person. Otherwise, I would really suggest, because I have had so many failed experiences that
Mm-hmm.
sometimes just because, oh, this person looked very kind, we have always had a nice chat, and this
mm,
story looks not bad, okay, let's do it,
mm,
or I was so eager to have projects, okay, this looks good, let's do
mm,
it.
mm,
Well, I guess probably some people got lucky and made it anyway, but not me.
mm,
So
mm,
I prefer not to repeat the mistakes again. Yeah.
mm,
Mm. You mentioned about failure, which is for me particularly important to make a successful producer, because through failure you can actually observe what kind of project should be the one that you want to involve in, and probably the way that you can work together with the director to develop the projects together. Okay, I also noticed quite a number of times that your film that you produce kind of like cover a wide range of subjects, and also probably those marginalized voices, either it is about LGBT groups or about dissenting voices or female voices that you would like to highlight in your film. Do you think those are what you really love to work on, and why do you think you want to work on those projects?
But strangely, before you summarize it that way, I never thought that way myself.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I guess yeah, for yeah, I mean, for like blind mouth,
mm,
I, of course Chris and I are really good friends, and
mm,
never say no to her. But I like when she says she wants to talk about freedom of speech,
mm,
So I thought, yeah, it's something that I agree, and I really want to shine a light on this kind of subjects. And
mm,
yeah, whatever you say just now, I actually advocate for them. But yeah,
mm,
so I guess it has a lot to do with personal interest, when it comes to if you're appeal or not.
I see. Okay, so it must be some kind of project that hit you that you want to produce. I think it is about the time that we can also get you to share with us on other topic. Like for example, as a producer and maybe local fixer, what do you think is the main or very important things that you would love to see improvement so that we can improve the Malaysian film industry as a whole?
I don't know. I mean, there's so much to do.
mm, mm,
We don't I guess we don't have enough film education,
mm,
so we don't have enough audience in a way.
mm,
I mean, who appreciate local productions.
mm,
And also, we need to nurture more local talents to be able to
yeah.
fill up different positions, to shine their talent in different areas. I don't know. Yes, I know Finas is working very hard. There are
Mm,
different voices to it, but I hope they
mm,
do their best.
mm,
I mean, of course, as I am into international co-production, I would love that the government open similar scheme, just like what Philippines did in January or what
In
Singapore did two
Singapore.
years ago. Yeah, so even Taiwan now has opened up. It can be equity actually. It doesn't have to be a free one. It can be equity, but just really running it with a 50 years plan or something, not 5 months plan.
Yeah,
So,
not short term. All right.
and I understand that we are not at the position to talk about censorship because it belongs to the Home Affairs. But I still think that even if we don't talk about it, I think we can fight for it together to
Okay.
kind of push the boundary,
Yeah.
to stretch it more. Because
Yeah.
I mean, if you are after Oscar but you censor Bong Joon-ho's film Parasite, I don't know what to say. I think it's very peculiar. I mean, you're supporting at one, but you are not really supporting at one. So I think Malaysians are very great. We don't need much protection. We are very, we're well educated. We know what's going on.
I
Don't
see.
think that we are always, needing this protection so that you don't go to the wrong path. Yeah, I think we're good. We have the rating system. Just put 18 and above. I guess we're good.
Okay, that's a very positive view about Malaysian as a whole, and you believe that maybe in the future, actually Malaysian industry can actually improve to make good film. Thank you, Yvonne. We will come back to you later. Thank you for watching TVS Director's Cut. We are going to come back with more interesting issues to talk about. Let's stay tuned. As a producer, there are so many things that we can work on to make good film. But as a film industry, what can we actually do improvement on? Let's listen to Yvonne on her view. Let's find out after this. Hi Yvonne, welcome back. What will be your future projects like? Could you please share with us on these, and then we can end on here.
I'm working on Darrow's Oasis of Now. We really hope to enter production next year, latest. And then I am also co-producing a documentary with a Chinese filmmaker because we were in China earlier, and this is also her debut, directorial debut documentary. We are going to shine light on 3 Chinese/Tibetan women who are struggling with their identity dilemma as opposed to the modernization that is taking place in their hometown now. So that is at a rather earlier stage. We're still developing the story. If we can manage the funding, probably we can enter production next year.
Okay.
So these are the 2 feature-length projects that I'm working right now, and maybe some short films along the way.
Great.
I mean, short film is kind of like something I like, so I don't mind to have 1 a year or something like that.
Thanks a lot for your sharing, and we wish you all the best in your future undertaking. Hopefully we can see your film very, very soon, and wish you all the best.
Thank you. My pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks a million to Yvonne, the producer for so many short film and feature-length projects. And we have learned about how to produce a film, probably to start with, to join some workshop, lab, or even training platforms that we can go on to. As a filmmaker, we should never stop learning and keep learning so that we can make greater film in the future. And for this episode, I would like to thank you for watching. If you have any suggestion for topics or filmmakers that you want us to feature, let's drop us a message. And later on, we wish we can bring those people to you. And this episode is produced by Camelia. Camera and audio crew is Ajib and Max, and co-produced, script, and hosted by your truly, Chong. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next episode.